Assalamualaikum and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the forum. I am NATASHA binti Abdullah as a moderator for today's forum. First of all, I would like to thank all of the audience in front of me. Thank you very much for attending the forum today. Today, we will discuss the topic of strategic performance measurement and sustainability. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our panels. We have Panel 1, Ms. AININ AZYYATI as Head of Group Strategy at QSR Brands Holding Berhad. Panel 2, Ms. NORDINI HANISAH as Director General of Insolvency for Johor. Panel 3, Ms. NAZRUL HAZIRAH as Chief Sustainability Officer at Petronas. And lastly, Panel 4, Ms. NURSYAHILA as Director of QSR Brands Holding Berhad. As we know, since the 1990, governments, businesses, consumers, investors, and other stakeholders have begun to recognize the importance of sustainability and the impacts the businesses have on society and the environment. In addition to the overall importance of sustainability, there could also be a direct link between environmental behavior and the performance. So, let's start our forum now by asking Ms. NAZRUL HAZIRAH to explain what is the meaning of sustainability performance measurement.
Thank you, Ms. Natasha. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to all the panelists and the audience. I'm so glad to be one of the guests here. As Ms. Natasha has said just now, I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer at Petronas. So, as a Chief Sustainability Officer, what I can say is our Earth is rapidly changing. From hunter-gathering to farming to capitalism, economic globalization, and political complexity. It is essential to consume our limited resources sustainably because people have historically been a consumer rather than replenisher of the Earth's natural resources. Companies have been encouraged to adopt sustainable practices, which is triple bottom line. It is as a result of the demand for limited natural resources. Within this framework, organizations started taking into account their contribution to society and the environment in addition to their financial earnings when evaluating their success over time or competing with their rivals.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can you explain what the triple bottom line approach is? I am very sure the audience also wants to get to know about it.
Okay, so the triple bottom line approach has three main interdependent pillars, which is social, environmental, and economic pillars. So, for the first pillar of the bottom line, which is the first pillar of triple bottom line, which is social, it is to have a equal right, opportunity, and a decent quality of life for all members of society to achieve a social sustainability. The organization job is to support the protection and even improvement of the well-being of its stakeholder. Next, in order to achieve environmental, we must make sure that we are not using resources more quickly than they can be replenished. Everyone, from people to business to government, should be conscious of how their action affect the environment. Measuring a company's or an area's carbon footprint is one of the methods to assess sustainability system. Many governments have established regulation that set standards for the amount of carbon that local firms must emit. Sweden became a sustainability leader in Europe with a dramatic 30% decline in carbon emission between 2004 and 2019. Okay, next for economic sustainability. It is by securing a safe job with beneficial working conditions and a reasonable wages, a community can maintain economic growth and stability for its population. Making a profit is what this means for business, and for the majority of them is the main reason they were established in the first place. So, despite the fact that wealth is essential for a company's survival and great performance, the triple bottom line strategy no longer consider prosperity as their main objective. A Deloitte study found that 90% of business managers said they were attempting to incorporate economic sustainability into their organization by allocating a sizable amount of money to social causes.
I have another thing that I am curious about. I would like to ask you about non-financial performance measurement. I understand that a non-financial performance measure expresses performance in a measure other than money. Can you explain a little bit more about it?
Okay, non-financial performance measurement are frequently still numerical in nature, even when they don't immediately correspond with financial performance. These metrics, which can be quantitative or qualitative, it is frequently employ number to illustrate the development of an organization. Employee soft skills are one of the most important factors in a company's non-financial performance, and it is very flexible enough to allow for different measurement, making them a particularly important area for this. Example of non-financial measure is benchmarking and balance scorecard.
What is the benefit if the company applies non-financial performance measurement?
Okay, so I will talk about the benefit of non-financial performance. So the benefit is can reveal business performance, assess impact of external factors, feedbacks to employee, and track strength and weakness. So what I can say is non-financial measurement help in supporting the company strategies. As a result, the departments and staff are aware of their efforts necessary to achieve the goals. Non-financial measurement can show staff members how little things like regular attendance may have a big impact on their productivity. Next, a firm may be exposed to many external hazards such as dangers, recession, divine act, war, and more that are beyond control of the companies. These dangers have an effect on a company's earning and cost. In this circumstance, focusing just on the financial indicator could paint a bleak picture of the organization.
Thank you, Ms. NAZRUL HAZIRAH, for sharing your knowledge about the information that relates with our topic today. Next, we move to the next panel, Ms. NORDINI HANISAH. Before that, Ms. NAZRUL HAZIRAH has mentioned one of the examples of non-financial measure is balance scorecard. Can you explain what a balance scorecard is and what are the advantages and limitations if the company applies that?
Thank you to our moderator. Here's the four approach in balance scorecard. The first one is financial. It includes items like sales numbers, profit margins, and return on investment. The second approach is customer. This helps business understand what is working with their customer base and make some necessary adjustment. Some metric to measure this might be the number of ticket resolved and customer satisfaction surveys. The third approach in balance scorecard is internal process. On the balance scorecard, this perspective helps organization leaders analyze how well their internal system and process are working, or if something that could be improved or changed to increase profitability. And the last approach for this balance scorecard is organizational capacity, which is all of these items force company leaders to look at items and assess how they are all serving the company as far as goal achievement goes. Let's proceed with advantage of balance scorecard. The first one is better strategic planning. So with balance scorecard, different leaders and departments can still individualize their performance measurement, but it all falls within a set structure that can be understood across the organization. Okay, the next advantage is better communication. Communication across team members and departments become easier when everyone is speaking the same language. So having a streamlined performance measurement system means that it's easier to talk about their strategy. So the third advantage is better congruence. So with a balanced scorecard, members of the organization can easily link their objective and goals at different levels of the company. So it gets teams and departments synced up under one structure. And the last advantage is effective reporting. Individual workers may find it helps their own performance when they can see the greater purpose behind the goals and objective that they are aiming to hit. Okay, here the limitation of balanced scorecard. The first one is it can get complicated. The framework itself of balanced scorecard takes some time and dedication to understand. So there are countless resources and case study to read from, and it's easy to get bogged down with the many different ways of using this method. Okay, the next disadvantage is it requires a lot of data. Most of the time, balanced scorecards require managers and team members to report information, which means logging data. Many don't like this because they find it tedious, and also it can get in the way of doing the work required to meet objective.
Thank you, Ms. Nordini HANISAH, for the information that you had shared just now. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all already know, there is an interconnect hierarchy ranging from the financial goals, which usually what the company wants to attain, through to internal customer processes, and then learning and growth, which is the way to perpetuate long-term achievement of the firms. Next, we will continue our forum for today by asking a question to our next panel. So, can Ms. AININ AZYYATI tell us some of the example or the application of a balanced scorecard so that we can learn further about this measurement?
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Now, before I start explaining even further, let me introduce myself first. So, my name is AININ AZYYATI, and I am currently the head of Group Strategy at QSR Brands Holdings Berhad. Back to our moderator's question regarding the application of balanced scorecard. Alright, I've been a part of Rockwater Energy Solutions strategy team from 2013 to 2015. Hence, I would like to use this firm as the example of this measurement. Based on my observation in the past, Rockwater have aligned their company's vision to focus more on new expectations that centered around customer service and building strong customer relationship. Their vision is to provide the highest standard in terms of strategy and quality to their clients. They also express their strategy in 4 perspectives, just like what our moderator told us just now, which is based on financial, customer, internal control, and also growth perspectives. So, in financial perspective, Rockwater have included measurement to show what important to their shareholders. Therefore, they have focuses to measure its return on capital employed, its long and short-term shareholder value, and also cash flow monitor short-term return to ensure and manage its long-term performance. In order to do so, Rockwater have added 2 financial measurements, which are project profitability that help them to focus on project as the basic unit for planning, and also sales backlog to help them reduce uncertainty in performance. Next, for customer perspective, the objective is to recognize the distinction between the customer, and also Rockwater have established 2-tier system for customer management and recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, in Tier 1, the system includes all companies that wanted to build long-term relationships with suppliers. What Rockwater did is implied independent organization to do monthly or annually satisfaction survey for their customers. Meanwhile, in their tier 2, Rockwater Group have oil company that choose supplier solely based on basis of price. Therefore, they use the in-depth price index, and it helps company to stay in cost competition. Perspective, which is internal control, Rockwater has defined the life cycle of the project from the beginning when they divide its customer into 2 groups until its customer satisfaction has been fulfilled. The cycle consists of identifying, winning, preparing, performing, and also close out. And lastly, based on the growth perspective, the objectives that Rockwater wanted to achieve is that to improve their customer relationships, financials, and also internal process performance. So, for customer, they measure the percentage of increase in revenue from the new service. Next, they measure the index range of the improvement for financial to maintain their financial power. Lastly, for employee, they would conduct staff survey to improve their work performance. That's all from me regarding application of balanced scorecard. Now, I'll pass back to our beautiful moderator.
Thank you, Miss AININ, for your explanation. So, we move to our next subtopic. In a company, there is benchmarking that helps the organization. So, Miss NURSYAHILA, can you explain to us what benchmarking is? I believe that in benchmarking, there will be advantages and disadvantages of it. Can you enlighten us about it? And also, if you could explain further on the types of benchmarking so that we can learn more about it.
Thank you, Miss Natasha. So, benchmarking is the process of measuring products, services, and processes against other similar companies to discover any room for improvement. There are many advantages as well as disadvantages. First, please focus on change. When we are benchmarking, we are setting and then follow a minimum standard of excellence. We analyze competitor standards and their best practices. Hence, we will be able to focus on change that encourages ongoing learning. Next is cost efficient. Benchmarking is easy and improves things in so many ways, like information sharing, training strategies, and give higher potential for future discoveries. We learn things that other industry already know and then implement them to what we do. Benchmarking also improves company standards. When we are doing benchmarking, we analyze the standard of competitors. We will raise the standard production or product according to the competitors to ensure that we are on the same level. Besides that, benchmarking improves efficiency. With standardization, employees will be motivated to perform better without making mistakes, hence lead to efficiency. Lastly, for advantages, benchmarking improves customer satisfaction. By using benchmarking, company learns more about the customer by collecting sufficient data on their wants and needs through feedbacks. Customer overall experience will be better when the company pay attention to their satisfaction. Okay, now we proceed to disadvantages. So for disadvantages, we have few such as insufficient information. With benchmarking, it is crucial to gather adequate information on the organization that are going to compare. If the company failed to do that, it will result to improper planning in data collection that will result in companies' losses. Next, increase dependency. To improve your position, it is all achievable through hard work. However, sometimes they forget about it and rely on other companies' strategies to become successful. and start following other instead of build their own network. Okay, lastly for disadvantages, lack of understanding. Sometimes company adopt benchmarking just because they have to, instead of learn what about the importance of it. Hence, it resulted to failures to know its weaknesses while focusing on the functioning of their competitors. Okay, now Miss Natasha, for types of benchmarking. First, internal benchmarking. You compare process of tasks to a similar process of tasks within the company. This requires the ability to track metrics for these two comparable systems or departments so that the KPI can be assessed and compared. This type of benchmarking is effective because it helps set and meet standards across the board, establishing consistency and ensuring that each department is as efficient as possible. Okay, next we have external benchmarking, which is comparing an internal process to that of a competitor or even several other organizations. This approach can be a little trickier because it requires access to industry data or specific company data, which may not be available unless the other organization has agreed to share it with you. External benchmarking is extremely valuable. You can better understand where your business fits into the wider market and identify areas of weaknesses that you should be focusing on. Okay, next is competitive benchmarking, which is a type of external benchmarking that solely focuses on comparing your own processes and metrics to those of direct competitors. This is form of benchmarking significant because you can identify exactly why a competitor is succeeding or what drives customer satisfaction in your industry. Okay, lastly for the type of benchmarking, performance benchmarking. By tracking metrics and KPI within the business, teams can continue to compare past outcome to current outcome, continually updating the standard for improved performance. This type of benchmarking is focused on improving key business function over time, since the idea is that benchmark will continue to be raised and strengthened. Okay, that is all from me, Miss Natasha, for benchmarking.
Thank you, Ms. NURSYAHILA, for your good sharing and useful information. Therefore, we have already known the types of benchmarking from our director. Now, can we proceed with our Head of Group Strategy, Ms. AZYYATI, to explain even further regarding the application of benchmarking based on your observation on more than 1,300 outlets of KFC and Pizza Hut, not only in Malaysia, but also across Singapore, Brunei, and also Cambodia.
Thank you, Miss Moderator. Now, based on my observation on Pizza Hut outlets, I would like to share with all the audience on the application or the steps of benchmarking. First step is identify the activities to be benchmarked. Activities to be benchmarked is vital to the achievements of the objectives of the business. They may include areas in which the company are experiencing problem. For example, Pizza Hut wants to benchmark their performance in customer service. Next, they have to choose benchmarking partners. The organization can choose any company in the same or different industry. For example, Pizza Hut can choose Domino's as their benchmark partners. Next, third step is that they collect and analyze their data. Pizza Hut should identify the performing gap between the company and need to improve in order to achieve best practice. For example, Domino's provide fast delivery and fast pickup service. This is why customer prefers Domino's rather than Pizza Hut. Now, we proceed to the next step, which is establishing the performance goals. Ladies and gentlemen, This step involves planning new practice and process to achieve performance goals and narrow their performance gap. Pizza Hut should provide discount coupon just like Domino's so that customers will buy more from them. Okay, now the last step is implementing plans. Implementation of improved practice require ongoing measurement of performance to assess the extent of the performance gap by taking corrective actions. That's all from me. I hope that ladies and gentlemen here can now have a better understanding on how benchmarking works in the industry. Thank you.
Thank you for the explanation, Miss AININ AZYYATI. Now, I think everyone here had a better understanding about our forum topic for today. The clock is ticking. Our forum for today has come to the end. I would like to say thanks again to all the panels for the informative and interesting talk. Hopefully, today's forum will be beneficial for everybody. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum.